Hello and welcome back to These Three Things. I hope you've enjoyed a really lovely Easter and spring break. I have to say it's nice to be back in the studio feeling refreshed and renewed with a very exciting guest. When it comes to competition, he is a natural-born leader. Known for his exceptional discipline, unwavering focus, self-belief, warmth and humility, all the things that got him to the very top of his profession. Having captained Wales no less than 49 times and the British and Irish Lions, he will always sit as one of Wales's and the world's most loved rugby players of all time. A warm welcome to Sam Warburton. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Oh, good, thanks. I don't write my own introductions as
No,
well. I'd like to
wrote
make that short as well. But it's always nice when you hear that because, I don't know, you never... I always wanted to be good at rugby, but if I could fast forward 20 years, say when I was a teenager, and somebody was introducing me like that, and they said, "This is you in doing a podcast in 20 years' time," I would have been like, "What?"
Yeah.
So,
Well,
thank you very
every
much.
word
Always,
is true.
oh,
Every word is
flattering.
true. And I mean it when I say this. You know, we're both from Cardiff. And the one thing that you are absolutely known for is your warmth and generosity. So I think it's always fair to just play that back.
Oh,
Thank you
thanks.
for saying yes, because I know it's taken a while to get you here. And as you know, I'm going to ask you which one person, one place, and one treasured possession have profoundly impacted your life. And I'm sure it wasn't an easy list to formulate.
I needed my wife to help me with this.
Okay.
So it's such a lovely podcast concept. And when I was thinking about it, it was an evening at home, and I said to my wife, Rach, "Oh, Rach, I'm doing the podcast with yourself." I said, "Really nice idea. What three things would you pick?" And it's obvious to go with that your wife, isn't it, and things like that, because obviously Rachel has been like one of the rocks of my life, and
Of course.
I've been with Rachel since we were 17. So this summer coming up is going to be 20 years that we've been together. So
Congratulations.
there's the obvious ones like my mum and dad, twin brother, sister, all those people have had a massive influence. But I think it's probably some of the ones which people might not expect who've had a massive impact, but maybe don't publicly speak or they wouldn't expect so much. So a couple of them were quite easy,
Yeah.
but some of them were quite difficult, and some people might have to get little things might have to get an honourable mention. But I will focus on the three that you've asked.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Well, yes, whittling it down to one. And I do always say it is not the person that you love the most, because I know Rachel would get that spot, as would your children. But how can you choose?
And the dog.
And the dog. Yes, brilliant. But I just think that there is always that one person, isn't there, in life that first shines a spotlight on our potential and who we could become. And they see a greatness in us or something that sparks an idea, sparks a hope. And so we try and piece the future together in those moments. So I'd love to know, who did you choose and why?
Okay, I'll say his name and what his role was, then we can dive into why.
Okay.
Gwyn Morris, Whitchurch High School. Now,
Okay.
Gwyn Morris, a lot of people will know in rugby circles because he was a high-level referee. Obviously, been Whitchurch High School's been in the press a lot, particularly with my generation, because the three that get talked about the most, and there was loads of other great athletes as well, but the three that kind of people talk about and refer to with Whitchurch is myself, Gareth Bale, football, and Geraint Thomas, cycling.
Yes.
And me and Gareth were in the same class together,
Wow.
and Gwyn Morris was our PE
Yeah.
teacher, so it was very coincidental that. But it's not just a teacher. I had this really unusual, determined mindset when I was young, and I don't think it was shared with any of my friends. And that's not a bad thing, you know. But I was just like, I'm playing for the Lions. Like that was just my mindset from when I was young. And I said that to my dad when he asked me to write down on a piece of paper like 5 questions for a mate in work. So he was a firefighter, so it was like name, age, sport, position, ambition. Now on ambition, I wrote down, and I'm not saying I've achieved this, but this is just the story. I wrote down British and Irish Lions legends, and I gave it back to my dad. I'm not saying I've achieved it, but that's just
What
what I wrote
age were
down.
you now?
14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Year 9.
And year 9. And my dad's like, "You can't write legend. It's a bit arrogant." But I was like, "Yeah, but that's what I want to do though, Dad. I want to be one of the best ever." But then like that would get met with a couple of giggles from my mates or anything. And I grew up watching certain athletes and sports people, and they had that mindset. And whenever I watched interviews, I thought, I love that because that's what I want to do.
Yes.
And they become my role models. So people like Lennox Lewis, Johnny Wilkinson, Tiger Woods in his pomp back then. So I used to watch these athletes, and I wanted to emulate those, but in rugby. But then Gwyn Morris came along in Whitchurch, and I remember I was in the lower school yard, and we heard there was this new head of PE coming.
Right.
And it was like a big recruit for Whitchurch because he had a good reputation. And I remember seeing him. I even remember the Adidas AstroTurfs that he was wearing and his shorts, and he had a polo top on with a clipboard, and he was marching to the AstroTurf. And I saw him. I remember thinking, "Oh, he looks like he's not messing about." He was our rugby teacher that year, rugby coach that year, and for the first time, and we had a good team. We were unbeaten in year 7, unbeaten in year 8. And Whitchurch got a big player pool. Obviously, it's a big school, so they historically have good rugby teams. But he was like, "It's not enough. And you're coming in to train. If you want to win the Welsh Cup, which had never won the Welsh Cup before, the school national competition, and he saw our team and he thought it was good. He said, if you want to win the Welsh Cup, you've got to put in more. And we came in to train at 7:30 in the morning, twice a week before school.
Wow.
And we trained twice after school as well. So we trained 4 times a week for a whole season. We were the first team to win the National Cup, and we ended up winning the National Cup in the Principality Stadium.
Amazing.
So he sort of broke a record for the school, but he was brilliant because he was all about the mindset, the preparation. And if you wanted to really do something, you could. And finally, I had almost like a mentor who kind of matched my mentality and supported it as well. And I had an early chat with him when I was talking. And I remember I said to him, I want to play for the Lions. And he said he came from Croeso Ceiliog School in the Gwent region. And there was one player from there who I watched when I was a youngster in the stands at Cardiff Arms Park, who played professional rugby for Cardiff.
Who was that?
Rhys Powell, he was a number 9, I believe.
Okay.
I think I've got his name right. I remember his last name was Powell. Memories, I'm pretty sure. But he was from, and Gwyn coached him. He said, but I never shook his hand because he didn't play for the Lions. And I said, that's fine. I said, I'll play for the Lions. I'll shake your hand. So say like fast forward when I was 24, played for the Lions. The first place I went when I came back was Whitchurch High School. Had a test match jersey. Didn't want to give him another jersey. Got a test match jersey. Met Gwyn, who was obviously delighted, and give him a massive handshake and a bit of a hug because we got on really well. And I gave that shirt to Gwyn. And I remember that handshake was like a 10-year...
It's like a Paul Hollywood moment.
Yeah, it was very much so. But then I just loved Gwyn, the way he taught, his mentality. He was all about excellence. He was like that himself with refereeing. And when you play for Wales, you have... In Wales, there's all rugby fans will know this. You've got the famous grog shop. So as a young player coming through, when the grog shop give you a ring, they give you a ring when they've had enough requests to make a grog of you. So for those listening who don't know, it's a little clay caricature. It's a fantastic bit of art, which are handmade, hand-painted, and they sell rugby figurines. They've done some celebrities as well, but they sell rugby figurines. But they only make it because it's so time-intensive. They only make it if they get enough requests.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's not going to make money for them. Now, you get paid no money to get a grog. It's just an enormous privilege to have a grog of you. So they rang me up and they said, I was about 21 or 2 at the time. They said, Sam, we would love to do a grog for you. So I was like really flattered because that's kind of like a made it moment in rugby.
An Oscar.
Yeah. Like when you go into rugby, like the Welsh national squad, you go into training and you go, boys, I'm having a grog. And everyone's like, oh, if you haven't got a grog, you get it. And the grog shop are lovely people. And I remember when I was there meeting them, they do portraits of your face, front on, side on. And they were like, Sam, take this in the nicest way possible. But you've got a fantastic face for a grog, which I totally understand. I have got obvious features, and like some people aren't very recognisable. If you know what I mean, they just got no obvious features. But I've got a lot of obvious features, and rugby has obviously helped to reinforce some of those as well. But when I was there, they said, right, who are your teams that you want? So what the grog shop do is they'll give you a unique grog for you in all the teams that you've played for. So
wow.
You have,
okay.
So I didn't have the Lions. They got back in touch in a couple of years after this moment when I played for the Lions. They gave me a Lions one. But I've got Lions, Wales, Cardiff, rugby. And then they said, oh, who's your club? Is it Wanderers? Is it Rabina? Is it... And I did play for those clubs, and I think a lot of them. But I went, oh, no, sorry, it's got to be Whitchurch.
Yes.
It's got to be a Whitchurch one if that's okay. And they're like, oh, really? We haven't done that before. So took in my Whitchurch shirt. They did a Whitchurch one. And I was with my twin brother, who obviously thinks as highly of Gwyn as I do and Whitchurch. And we were both just chatting. And they heard us, we were eavesdropping, like, oh, how amazing would it be to get one of these for Whitchurch? But the grogs are hand-painted. So it's very, it's the grog shop aren't just giving you freely loads of grogs.
Sure.
It's a lot of commitment for them. And they were like, oh, if you want a second one, we could do you a second one of Whitchurch. I thought that would be brilliant. So I got this second Whitchurch grog done, and I gave Whitchurch, I dropped Gwyn a text. I said, oh, Gwyn, I've got a little something for you if that's all right. So I popped over his house. He lives local. And so I was like playing for Wales at this point. I just popped back to his house. And I had this like box, which it would have looked like it was, because I wrapped it up, it would have looked like a bottle of champagne probably,
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
So he opened this box, and it was grog shop, and he opened it up, and Joe, I got it now.
You got it here?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, thanks, Sam.
So he opened it, and it's one of these. So I know, is that in display there?
Yeah.
So it's got number 7, which I was obsessed. And but on the back, by here, this is my one, so it doesn't. But on the back, I had To Which High School. Thanks for all the support, and I signed it, Sam. I gave it to Gwyn. So there's only 2 in the world. I've got one, and Gwyn's got the other. And he still says now, because I see him, it's on his mantelpiece.
Yeah. What a moment.
It's on his mantelpiece, and he got quite tearful over it. Yeah, sorry, there you go.
Thank you.
I don't look like that anymore, unfortunately. But, so this is the actual shirt that we won the Under-18s National League in. So that's the shirt that I took. You can even see on the badge, well, you can see it there, Debbie. I'm not sure if the camera can, but you see how you can actually read Whitchurch. The detail's amazing. It's all hand painted. But that's only one of 2 grogs, as I mentioned, in the world of Whitchurch High School. Obviously, I've got one and Gwyn's got one. So that's a very treasured item for me.
Love it.
But
so he must have been thrilled with that.
I
The
think
shirt
he
was one thing, the handshake, but also the grog.
And I'd given him a Welsh shirt as well.
It.
But there was some moments where we were playing for Wales. He was an assistant referee on the touch. He was a touch chief for a Wales game. And I was captain. So he made sure that he was the referee standing my side of the anthem. So we stood next to each other for the anthem. And we could sing the anthem together. We had a picture of it. And after that game, we swapped shirts. So he had my Wales shirt and I had his referee shirt, which is a real special swap, very unique swap. Like, I don't know how many people can ever swap with a teacher they think so highly of. He's a friend now, I'm a massive believer in you get out of life what you put in. Mm-hmm. And that was absolutely the case when it came to Whitchurch. Not just training on the field, like academics as well. I was asked to play for Wales Sevens when I was 18 in sixth form, but I wanted to get my grades under my belt first. And he really supported that. And he was education first, sport second. And I'm really thankful that they supported my rugby journey, but they made sure that you stayed on the straight and narrow as well. And they supported you to the nth degree. So a lot of people say there's that one teacher who kind of lights the fire in them.
Absolutely.
And he lit that fire and supported it. And he believed I could do it as well. He didn't say it to me like, oh, I'll only do it, if I'll only shake your hand if you play for the Lions. He's like, you can do it if you want to.
And at 14, he saw it and he affirmed it.
Yeah. And it's a fine balance giving someone confidence and telling someone they can do something when it's not there.
Yeah.
But you can really encourage them, I believe. And but I think I did have that real kind of belief instilled in me on top of my own kind of belief as well, that if I wanted to, I could do it. And it was lovely to have that support.
On the game when he was the Welsh ref and you were captain, did you do any fouls that day where he's like, sorry, Sam, it's a no? Or were you absolutely immaculate throughout that game?
Always immaculate.
Yeah.
And Gwyn actually just reminded me, when I was in school, because my position, it's a hostile position, but you have to understand the laws. And I sometimes think I've probably got more credibility as captain since I finished playing, because people probably thought I just tackled like crazy and that was it. I was actually a bit of a student of the game, which is why I guess I'm quite lucky now I can fall into the TV world and talk about it. But I was a student because when I was about 15, 16, I was learning about the rules, and the breakdown is an area of the game which is quite technical and you've got to really know what you're doing. I got a referee book. It's all online these days, but back then, 20 years ago, I got the law book off Gwyn Morris, and he gave me a law book so I could study the law book. So I made sure that I could bend the rules, and because he was a referee, and I got a bit of a reputation for the way I spoke to referees. And that's because I used to talk to Gwyn, and he was like, always be well-mannered.
Yes.
Make sure it's a question, because if you make a statement and you just moan in, like if it's a question, you're kind of not forcing, but they'll have to answer you back. Pick your moment and only speak to them. And he always say, don't speak to a referee right after the moment he's made a decision. Because even the most confident referee, the moments after they've blown their whistle, made a call, in their head, they're replaying it, thinking, is that the right call? Yeah, that he did this. So he said, leave it then. Give it some time. Give him some space to breathe, then you can speak to him later in the game. And I had all these little nuggets off him on how to speak to referees. And when I say that, I always say, number one, less is more when it comes to communication and talking. And number two is be polite, be courteous. And manners don't cost a penny. Speak to people how you want to be spoken to yourself.
Truly.
And my mum and dad taught me those things, but Gwyn also taught me them as well. So there's a lot of these little nuggets that you get that you can then take into your professional career as a captain. So when people say I get a lot of credit about my captaincy, yes, my mum and dad have always brought me up, please, thank yous, and and treat people really well. But Gwyn was exactly the same as well. You know,
Mm.
like no swearing when we were playing and in school, he penalised us for swearing. Like all these things about being well mannered and
About
good
the
people.
discipline and the respect, yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
So I had that great influence from my captaincy as well. So it's really hard to sum it up in 2 minutes. You can see why now you're so
Yeah.
influential. But yeah, Whitchurch and Gwyn Morris are phenomenal for me.
I love that choice. And I take it he's fully retired now.
He's still going in Whitchurch.
He's still a teacher?
He's still the head of PE. So he must have come quite young when I think about it. But he doesn't look like he's aged a day.
Really?
So he must be, I'm not even going to guess, but he must have come to Whitchurch maybe when he was in his 30s.
And he doesn't know you're doing today. He doesn't
No,
know
he
that
has no clue.
I'm really looking forward to him hearing this episode and realising that it was him, of all the people that you could have chosen. But also, when you look back on your career, and you've had many conversations, I'm sure, with him since, has he said to you, Sam, of all the games and all the moments, this is the one when I thought, I'm partially responsible for that lad?
John, he never has. And I think all the top coaches and teachers I've had, they never take credit.
Right.
But he deserves credit.
He deserves it.
But he probably wouldn't think it's because of him. But it definitely, a lot of it definitely does contribute.
Did he ever go on any of the tours and watch you, or did he literally phone in from Whitchurch and say, I'm watching you now?
He'd always text good luck, which was nice. I don't think he ever went abroad to the Lions tour. But mind the Lions tours I went on were Australia, New Zealand. It's a massive, and he would have been in school teaching at the time.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been able to go. But yeah, there would have been like away Wales trips and Wales games, which he was there. And I always got a text off him. And, you know, there was Gwyn, and then Steve Williams was another big one in Whitchurch as well. So I feel I have to mention Steve Williams because he was brilliant for me and still keep in touch with all those guys. And if I didn't have that influence, or I wasn't in a school which was so supportive for sport, maybe I wouldn't have had the ambition or support to want to go on. So I'm glad they were there in a moment of my life when I wanted to do something. And I had the family, I had my girlfriend, my wife now. She played sport to a high level, so she understood the commitment it took.
What was her sport?
She played for Wales in badminton as well.
Oh, wow.
So she travelled around all across Europe playing badminton. So she understood the commitment. My parents understood and supported it, and Whitchurch did. So the fact I had those three from the age of 14 to 18 to go through that together with, I feel very fortunate for that.
And just that one man, as you said, right time, right place, right age, and that spark was lit, and then the rest is history.
Exactly.
Amazing. To Gwyn Morris, I've loved hearing that. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to travel now to your place. And I imagine on many of the tours that you've seen some incredible sights around this world and been to some wonderful countries, met some amazing people. But of the one place that you would choose that makes your heart and soul sing, Sam Warburton, where have you gone for?
I do always think there's no place like home. I love Wales. And a small anecdote, I will come to say the place. But when we used to come back from long Lions tours, long Wales tours, you're away from home for 2 months sometimes, World Cups and things. And we'd have the same Welsh team bus driver who'd pick us up in our Team Wales bus from Heathrow. And we'd do the 2-3 hour journey back to the Vale Hotel. And we'd get to the Prince of Wales Bridge, as it's called now. And the bus driver, Andy, he was brilliant. I still remember him. I really liked him. He'd get on the mic at the front as he's driving. He'd say, boys, isn't this the most beautiful pair of rugby posts that you've ever seen? Because anyone who's crossed the bridge knows there's those two massive H's right in the middle. And he says, there's a reason they put them there as you're entering Wales, you know, given it's sort of rugby country. And then he'd always play Tom Jones, Green, Green Grass at home as we're crossing the bridge, and all the players got their hands up in the air singing Tom Jones, because we love Wales and we love coming back to Wales. So that's just a little anecdote of why I love Wales. I started going down Pembrokeshire with my wife when I was about 20. She had a caravan down there, and I just fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
The coastline, how peaceful it is. I don't know why, I can really switch off when I go down there. For whatever reason, I can leave Cardiff behind.
Yeah.
Not that Cardiff's like New York, London, big city, but I can leave my work commitments and things behind. In Strumblehead, there's a hill fort, and I looked into what it was called. We used to walk up it, and you get this unbelievable view of the sort of North Pembrokeshire coastline. When I'm up there, I'm just in awe of it.
Absolutely.
Another person I was going to mention was going to be Andy McCann. Andy was a sports psychologist who used to coach me a lot. When I was playing, I found the pressure hard. And he's like, when you go somewhere to relax, he's like, close your eyes and just try and listen. And I did this exercise with him quite a few times. When you're in the countryside, because he knows I like the countryside, try and listen to as many noises and sounds as you can and senses. So I was on this hill fort, and it's called Garnfawr, Garnfawr. I used to go up there with my wife and the dog, and we take the kids up there now and just sit there for half an hour and just take in the scenery. But you can close your eyes and you can just listen. Now you can hear some farms which are down. Like, but
Yes.
there's no motors. It's
No.
like you've been there. It's in the middle of nowhere. The only motor you can hear is a tractor, maybe.
Yeah.
You might hear the odd cow. You can hear sheep. You can hear birds. You can hear the sea crashing. You can hear the wind. And when you close your eyes for 5 minutes, and you can feel some of those, you can feel the sense of heat and wind, and maybe the grass. You can hear. Now, Andy would tell me that it's almost like a meditation, but I could sit there for 5 minutes. I could close my eyes and just listen and feel. You know, like just be present. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and it's amazing. And we love that place. And I took my wife up there when I was 23, when I came back from a summer tour. I got to the top, spoke a bit of gibberish, and I proposed to her.
Oh, did you? Okay,
And,
lovely.
And I'm not, when I say I'm not romantic, I'm extremely loyal. I'm a very loyal person in relationships, friendships. Like, for example, my club, Cardiff, one club man. I think I'm a very loyal person. So I've been with Rach now for like 6-7 years, and but I'm not a romantic, you know. So I'm loyal. I've always said I'm loyal. I'm loyal, but I'm not really like a romantic, you know. I'm not like that. But I did say to Rach as we were leaving the place, and she was like telling her parents, "Oh, Sam just like proposed to me." I mean, it was at the top of that place. It's a real special place. I got a piece of slate made. Which has the words Garn Vow written on it, and we put that in our house.
Oh,
and she was like, she was in tears, like, that's the most romantic thing you've ever done.
I love that.
So yeah, like that's like a very sort of special place. And like when we got married, we had and Rachel picked this first dance. It's Ronan Keating, When You Say Nothing at All, because of kind of what I'm like. She knows what I think and feel, but I might not say what I think as often as I want. But that was our first dance song. I say to Rachel, like, without being morbid, like I could never go up there. If one day one of us is going to go for the other, you know, I'll never be able to go up there and listen to that song without you being around. It would just absolutely
make me go there.
It would absolutely, it would crush me. But yeah, that's my special place. I go up there, and I sometimes think when I'm like stressed out, I could just drive 2 hours. It's 2 hours to get there. It would be worth it to drive 2 hours, sit there for half an hour, have my lunch, and drive home. It would be worth it. And when I was playing rugby, and it was a lot of pressure playing rugby, like a lot of jobs, we all have pressure. But in my head, I'd be always like, right, house down west, house down west. That was like a big motivation for me when I was playing rugby. And I did. When I retired, I bought a house not far from there in Pembrokeshire.
How lovely.
We bought an old farmhouse, we renovated it. And I can go there and I can enjoy it. And it sort of, I walk the dog sometimes around some of the farmers' fields, and I see the same coastline, and I'm like, it's worth it. It was worth all the stress, the injuries, the public criticism, the operations, the time away from home. Because people see rugby players, and don't get me wrong, it's an enormous privilege, and I loved my career. And if I could be 16, I'd go back and I'd relive it all over again. But it comes with a lot. You'll know, of course, because your dad was heavily involved in the rugby and my career as well. But it's not all plain sailing.
No.
So I had this motivation when I finished, like, but it'll be worth it. Because I'm a massive family man. I finished because I wanted to spend more time with my family. Once I achieved what I wanted to achieve, I thought, right, rugby's not going to come first, which it does when you play, and family comes second. If you want to be good at sports person, it has to come first.
Sure.
And after a while, you get fed up of putting your family second. I thought, right, I was 29. I'm going to put my family first now.
Brilliant.
And now I can spend a lot more time with my family. I can go down West Wales. I can have ice cream, go down the beach with a bucket and spade, have a cup of coffee, just enjoy the West Wales coastline, eat fish and chips, local pubs, and just spend time with the kids. And it's brilliant. And I think, right, all that sacrifice that I, from the age of 14, when I made that vow to myself, I was going to play for the Lions, through to 29, it's a 15-year journey, but it's given me now the flexibility that I can do that with my family and try and be as good a husband and father as I possibly can. So very special place to be.
I love that. I have a really distinct image of you as a family on the top of that mountain, looking at the coastline, because I know it and I adore Pembrokeshire like you do, and seeing your 3 kids, and you're saying to them now, shh, close your eyes, listen. Because we don't do it, do we?
I know.
And then those moments when you actually really tune into nature, and what I love about being in that area as well is there's no reception.
No.
Just cannot, your phone won't ring, and it's like, oh, there you go. So you may as well leave your phone at home. But it's so pure, isn't it? I mean, it's vicious as well. When those winds and those rains come in off the Irish Sea, they're brutal. But on a gorgeous day, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more beautiful spot in the world, I think, as well.
You're right. And
it's stunning.
And when I'm in that top spot, sometimes the boats come across from Ireland and they come into Fishguard. and they just so slowly come along. I like it when
Yeah.
it's a lovely, crisp, sunny day and
Yeah.
there's no clouds. And the water down there is just like clear blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just watch this boat just slowly coming in, you know, and they come in as fab. So where would
So-
be your special like Pembrokeshire place?
I've been going since I was 4 or 5, and I think you can go off on these incredible journeys and see parts of the world which I love to travel. But my most happy and halcyon memories are on Cymraeg Lois as a child, 10-year-old. My godfather trying to teach me how to water ski, crabbing, climbing the rocks, just covered in sand. 10 hours later, you're back in the caravan. And they were the best of times, the happiest of times. And I think that when I go there now with my 8-year-old, I just look at her and I think this is where her memories are made.
But does she ever laugh at an iPad like she laughs when she's down there on the beach playing? Never. They're so happy.
It truly, like, nothing, no screens come out. It's wetsuits are on, deck chair comes out, sandwiches are made, happy days. Really, I can't beat it. So Newport would be my place, and I also just love climbing Carningley. If you've never climbed Carningley, I strongly recommend it. I wanted to ask you though, Sam. I loved hearing what you said at the beginning about there's no place like home. And for all those times that you put on that red jersey and that feeling of just insane pride, what does it mean to be Welsh to you?
I love the people it represents. Very working class, which is Welsh rugby. You know, I love that. It means so much for us culturally. Genuinely lifts the moods of people when Wales win.
Yeah,
and drops it when we lose. And I've experienced plenty of both of those. But
yeah,
and my dad's English, by the way, which is why I loved representing the Lions, because I love representing his side of the family.
sure.
My mum's born in England, but she considers herself Welsh because she had Welsh parents. She was just momentarily living in England with her parents while she was born, and she came back to Wales. So she lived most of her life in Wales. But I genuinely love being Welsh. I do. I always say I'm Welsh and British because I like representing my father's side of the family, and that's how I was brought up. But Wales is such a beautiful place. I think the people are brilliant. I love the people. I love how passionate they are. You know, I think a real historically like hard-working nation.
Yeah.
And I always love the underdog story.
Yeah.
And people would say like Wales like being underdogs when we used to play rugby. And I used to think, no, speak for yourself. Take that lid off us and we can do a lot more than we think we can. And I used to think, I haven't sacrificed all this to be second best underdog. We can be the best,
Well,
when it comes
that.
to rugby, And I just think that, I just love the sort of the nature of people. I love wherever I go, which is nice. I mean, social media is where the nasties live, but wherever I've been in Wales and I go somewhere, the people are so nice, the confidence they get about rugby and how important it's been to them when they've watched our team play. And I just feel very welcomed everywhere I go. And that's why when I go down Pembrokeshire, I don't know why, even though I wasn't brought up in Pembrokeshire, it's weird. It feels like home as well.
Yes.
As well as Cardiff, it feels like home. And I just feel very, I know some people call it Little England, but I just feel very Welsh when I'm in Pembrokeshire as well. It sounds a bit silly that, but
no, I get it. There is a
Welsh.
hero, but there's also, it's the humour, isn't it? For me, it's the humour that we find from north, south, east and west. It's just classic. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I've loved that. Thank you. So Garn Fawr, Pembrokeshire. Okay, let's go on then to the final question. Your treasured items. So if we were stripped of everything and you could take just one thing with you, I don't think it's going to be a rugby ball, but I'd like to know, what have you chosen?
Yeah, if you went in my house, it would be the worst episode of Through the Keyhole you've ever seen. There's not a rugby ball in sight. It's all football in my house. I'm not a material guy. I got my Lions shirt put in a frame with a swap New Zealand shirt, which is Kieran Reid, who was the New Zealand captain. I've only just received that 8.5 years later because I don't put jerseys at my house. Like I'm not. So because I'm like, well, I got the memories. I did it. I don't need to put things up on the wall to prove I did it or to show other people I've done it. It's all up here, And I'm very proud of what I did, and I don't need to plaster that for people to see. It's not for them. It's an intrinsic thing for me and my family. That journey I went through and what I achieved. I don't need to tell people about it. And my wife knows I'm like this. She's like, you never treat yourself for anything. But there was a really nice watch that I saw, and I'm not flashy. You can tell what I'm wearing. I'm just jeans and t-shirt. Like that's just like me every day. I do like watches, and I'm very proud Cardiff boy, and that's why I only played for Cardiff my whole career. I had offers to go and play abroad, but it just wasn't Cardiff. I grew up playing in the black and blue of Cardiff, and Cardiff were amazing at 15. They came in, and your dad's a massive part of my journey and supported me throughout my whole career. And I remember sitting next to your dad on a plane. It was one of my first away trips, and I was like, looked at the plane, and I was looking at back, and then Peter was there. But for those who don't know, sorry, your dad was owner of Cardiff.
Yes.
Cardiff Rugby. So like he was, and now, which is lovely, in the stands named after him, it's Peter Thomas stand, which is great. And he was, I saw the only spare seat in the plane was Peter's, next to Peter. And I thought, oh my God, I'm sat next to Peter. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like I was just like, almost in awe of him for what he's achieved as in the business world, but what he did for Cardiff as well. And I was sat next to him, and we had a really good chat, and he was like, what are you doing with your, he obviously knew what I was doing because he knew everything about the club, and I was just sort of coming through. And he said, what are you doing with your money? And it sounds like quite an intrusive question. I was like, well, I don't know really. And he just talked to me for the whole trip about securing yourself financially. There's a lot of young players who come through, live fast, die young. They go watches, they go cars, girls. And he was like, no, you need to do, and he was big in property, your family, and Peter talked to you about how property works, how investments work. And it was like the most insightful 2 hours I had as a young kid growing up. But he's like, but you should reward yourself at the same time. And I sort of always remembered that. But then go to like when I'm 30, and I saw this really nice watch, and they do a particular model, and I'm wearing it now because you asked, and I don't really wear it too often. It's a nice luxury brand, but they got
Am I allowed to ask? Come on.
It's on it. Okay, it's called a Rolex Batman.
Oh, love it.
So it's got, but can you see it's got the bezel is black and blue. Now, there's more collectible items for Rolex. They have one called a Pepsi, which is one of the most collectible items that they have.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, with like the Daytonas. So if you're buying a strict investment, you probably go for what is the Pepsi. It's red and blue. But but it's not Cardiff colours.
For so me. You've gone blue and black.
I was on a waiting list for that for about 2 years. No way. And I said I liked it, but I'd never buy myself things like that because I just don't. I always think without sounding like I'm trying to make out I'm super generous. I'd rather help the family. You know, like if it comes to giving money,
big money,
But I love this watch. I was like, oh, it's Cardiff colours. It's amazing. And I'd always loved Cardiff. I was mentioned one club man, and had great advice and mentors there, including your father. It was my birthday, and my wife then got me a present. Now, when we buy presents, we buy each other like, very modest presents. Like we don't like to sort of splash money. But then I opened up this. It was a box. And I opened up the wrapping, and then it was a Rolex box. So I just went. I was like, "Shut up!" And I thought she can't have remembered the conversation from 2 years ago. I opened it. It's probably the only time I got tearful for a present. I opened it up, and it was the black and blue.
No,
it's called the Batman, but for me, it's the Cardiff Rolex. It's the Cardiff one.
I love it. So, Sam, can we just have a little look at that watch? Can the viewer have it? If you could hold it up for the viewer to see.
So it's a GMT Master 2. That's what it's called, Batman. From Rolex with a Jubilee bracelet. So I just slowly put it there. Is that we get a good view of the black and blue, and that's Cardiff black and blue,
isn't it?
So
Truly,
it's a really nice
so
watch.
Subtle. That's what I love.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't scream out.
No, it doesn't. It's very elegant.
My wife said, "Well, if there was when we were talking in the kitchen all the way back at the start of this episode, we were in the kitchen. Well, if there was a house fire, what would you grab?" I was like, "Well, okay, exclude the phone because that's obviously a key communication, but take the phone out of it." She said, what would you grab? And your family, obviously, material things. I was like, it would be that watch. Yeah. Because for me, it was probably 10, 15 years of like sacrifice, hard work that I've never wanted to financially reward myself with. And like on your dad's point, whenever I earned through Wales or Cardiff, I invested because of what he said. And property was a big aspect of that. And I'm very thankful for it. But then I've always remembered, I never treated myself, I never enjoyed it along the way. And that's the advice they always say when you play rugby. It's like, I was always very like, next game. And the good mentor's like, but you have to enjoy the small wins sometimes and reward yourself.
Sure.
And this is one time where I felt, I rewarded myself. And whenever I put it on, it just makes me feel nobody knows. And I don't tell anyone when I'm out and about with it. And I don't really wear it out too much anyway. Okay. But when I wear it, I'm just suddenly very proud of what I achieved and grateful for some of the mentors along the way. So it's a bit of a, I don't want it to sound narcissistic saying
Not
that
at all.
item.
It's
'cause I'm not
beautiful,
like that
but
at
also
all.
it represents the whole time. Like you said, there's 15 years of when that journey began as a 14-year-old boy to when you retired at 29. And that's such a huge chunk of your life.
Yeah.
That every time now that you put it on and it's a special occasion, it will bring you back into that whole sacrifice, that whole journey, isn't it? It represents so much.
And the only things that I have up in my house, I mentioned there was that Lion shirt, which is not up yet, but it's framed up and it's nice. But it would be that, and then it would be a Cardiff shirt that I've got, which had rare, like they brought names back in now, but back then they didn't have names when we played. Only my first couple of seasons we had names. So I got a Cardiff shirt, which says Warburton 7 on it, and I had my 100th cap, which was presented to me on the field by your dad, by Peter.
Wow.
So I've got those in a frame, and they're the only two things I've got up because I'm super proud to play for Cardiff.
Yeah.
Wish I could have played more, but my body wasn't really I wasn't very durable as a player. So I would have loved to play more for Cardiff, but I got my 100th cap from Peter on the pitch. I've got a jersey with my name on it, and then I've got my Lions ones, and they were like the two things which meant most to me. I wanted to be very loyal for Cardiff because I loved them, and they're a massive club. You know, what an amazing club to play for. And I grew up from under 11s, 12s, all the way up to when I turned 20. I played for Cardiff at some level for rugby, and I grew up in the blue and black. So that's why that watch kind of is just like a gentle day-to-day reminder of the sacrifice and loyalty as well that I felt I put myself in.
So it's called the Batman watch.
It's called Rolex Batman.
Rolex Batman, and there's probably very few of them in the world.
Yeah, so they're the sort of watches, that's why you're on waiting list, because people tend to buy them.
Yeah.
They go up in value straight away, and then they sell them.
Wow.
But I'm not.
No,
I'm
that's not going anywhere.
That.
You've got 3 children, though. Which one's going to inherit it?
I know. Well, luckily,
difficult.
I've only got one
Just
boy.
take it with you.
Yeah, luckily, I've only got one. But do you know what's nice, actually? Because when you play for the Lions as well, you have they do a Lions watch.
Oh, do they?
So when you go on Lions, it's a little bit like our kind of private NFL ring.
Okay.
So when you go on Lions tours, I think they started this tradition back in 2009. They get in touch with a luxury watch manufacturer, and then they say to the lads, if you want a limited edition Lions watch, so they give you pick a model, all pick the same model. They engrave it with the Lions logo with your name and cap number, and then you all as a group get the same watch, and you pay for it out of your pay packet. So I got 2 tour watches, which have been engraved in private, and then I got this one. So I got 3 kids, 3 very sentimental watches, so I can give them one each.
But I love that Rachel got it. I love that she must have just thought, right, how did she know that the 2 years was up and that you'd suddenly got to the top of that list? Did she just go off and do a research?
She must have, we got to know a guy who was working in a watch shop in town. He was a Whitchurch boy, just completely coincidental. So she just chucked herself on the waiting list. So she had it in the house for months because she didn't want to give it to me when she got it. She wanted to wait and give it to me for my birthday. But I just couldn't believe she remembered. And I was almost like shocked. Like, why did you spend that money? Like, you can't, that could have, like, I don't want you to do that for me, And I don't really spend, we say this, like when it's family, when it's holidays.
Sure.
I'd like to, it's completely worth the investment to spend the time with your kids. But day to day, I don't really spend, you know. So she's like, Sam, you never spend. So just treat yourself once, please.
No regrets. No regrets. Sam, this has been so lovely. I'm so glad that you brought it here for us to see as well today. So to Gwyn Morris, that brilliant teacher who's still working at Whitchurch High School, to Gwyn Morris, your first proper sport teacher and mentor, to Gwanvawr, if I pronounced it right, Gwanvawr on the Pembrokeshire coast, near Strumblehead, and to that brilliant Batman Rolex, the Cardiff Rolex, which is lovely. Thank you so much for being a guest on these 3 things. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Loved it. Thanks for asking me. And nice to catch up.
Lovely to catch up. Thank you. Thank you for listening today. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do pass it on and share it with a friend. It doesn't take long to do so, but it does make a huge difference in getting this podcast made. Until next time, thank you.